Hey, it's Bruce from the Joinery Coach. I'm here on a Friday afternoon in my office, just trying to put some things together for next year and trying to do the best I can to help you during 2018 and the best you've ever had in business. And hopefully I can do the same for myself. So what I'm actually doing is I'm working on a little bit of a framework that you can follow, that I'm personally going to follow for 2018, so that we can put everything together into the 1 year, achieve everything that you wanted to achieve in the year and more. Have some time for yourself, have the time off, not be working 60, 70, 80 hours a week in business. And so there's a bit of a framework around this, and I'm just going to share it with you right now. It'll be just a quick video. And if you take the worksheet, you can download them, or if you can't find how to download them, just send me a PM or an email, and I'll send them off to you. But yeah, so it's just a quick little video today, just to show you what we're working on for 2018. And I'm gonna share my screen with you now, and we'll have a look at the worksheet. We'll work through it really quickly, and you'll have access to it. You can do with it what you want in your own time. Okay. So how do we get all the things that we want to do fit into the 1 year? I don't know about you, but at the end of every year, certainly it happened this year, you look at where you're at and you go, holy crap, it's already the end of the year and I haven't done this, that, and the other thing. And it seems to happen to us every year. The year goes by so fast, and we have so many things that we wanted to achieve at the beginning of the year, and then the year's gone and we haven't done any of them. So what I'm going to show you here is a really, really cool way to list all the things that you want to achieve in business and in life throughout the entire year, and plan it so that they actually happen and you've got some time left over for yourself. So hopefully you'll take some value away from this. It's just a short little video. Like I say, you can download the worksheets, and I've created a really cool calendar for you to use as well. So the old metaphor of stacking rocks, well, it's very true that if you stack big rocks on top of small rocks, your little rock castle is going to fall over. Go ahead and try it at the beach the next time. See how tall you can get your rock castle if you're trying to stack big rocks and small rocks on big rocks with no sequence or no plan to it. Eventually what happens is the thing falls over. So what I'm saying is we've got to do this in the correct sequence. There has to be a sequence to how you plan the year. Otherwise, what happens is you'll find that throughout the year you're just trying to do this, that, and it's a random way to approach the year. So you end up with doing some of the things you wanted to do, but you've missed out on some of the other things. And some of the other things might be the most important things that you should have done or wanted to do. So if you look at stacking rocks at the beach, a little bit of a beach theme going on here. Clearly, if you stack it in the right sequence, you can get a really tall castle that doesn't fall over and is really quite stable. So it's kind of a cool metaphor that there's a sequence to doing things that seems to make a whole lot of sense. There is another metaphor that works like this, that if you want to fit everything into the jar and think of the year as your jar, if you just start chucking things in, it's not going to fit. You're not going to get the things done that you want to do because there just won't be enough room. The sequence doesn't work. Whereas if you put the big things in first, and then the smaller things, and then the smaller things, and then pour the sand in, you're still going to have room to even pour some water in there. Or I've seen this metaphor used as you've got enough time at the end of the year to crack a beer. You can pour a beer in. Although I wouldn't want to waste a beer pouring it into sand myself, but it's an interesting demonstration just to show you that you can fit everything in if you do it in the right sequence. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, and that sets up the context of what I'm about to show you. What I'm about to show you is just a little bit of a worksheet that you can use to plan out the year, so you've got all the things planned out in your year so that you get it all done. You've got some time left over for yourself, and you've spent time with your family and your friends and your kids and your family, maybe your dog, whatever it is you need to do throughout the year to make you happy. This is how we can make sure it happens. So the first thing is you start with big rocks. So your big rocks will be different to everybody else's, but I've just given you a few examples here. So if we were to say that you're going to look at maybe your monthly revenue or your yearly revenue, whichever you prefer. Let's just say that you wanted to go from 20K to 40K. That's something that you'd want to plan to make sure that it happens. And you want to watch your cash flow month by month in business. One of the most important things I do with my clients in the Wealthy Joiner program or in the GPS system is the beginning of the month or the middle of the month, we say, what was your cash flow from the previous month? You might also have a number of jobs, so number of kitchens or jobs that you do in a year. You might say, look, we go from 40, we did last year, it wasn't enough, maybe we need to do 60 this year. You can also have some consideration for the year after that. So you might say, look, I want to go from 40K per month, yours might be 100K, 40K to 60K per month. Always consider the next year, but don't focus on it. Focus on the year at hand. You might also, and I highly encourage you to do this, look at how many days or holidays you have throughout the year. So I look at this as weeks. So you might say, look, this week I only had 4 weeks. Excuse my very, very terrible handwriting right now. Let's do that again. Can't accept that. That was terrible handwriting. There's a limit to how bad I'll let it be. 4 weeks. You might say, look, I want to double that and I want to have 8 weeks this year, right? And maybe in 2019, you might say, look, I'd like to have 3 months. So whatever it is, you've got the big rocks, the big things that you want to plan out. Get them down on paper first. Get them listed off, the big stuff that you need to plan for the year. The next thing we'll do is look at some of the smaller things. And they might be holidays that you want to go on, or time away from the business, time with your family, your friends. Don't forget that you build a business, you run a business so that you can have a particular lifestyle. And if that business isn't creating a lifestyle, you've got to do something to change so that it is creating a lifestyle. It's not going to happen on its own. So we have to create some planning and some actual activity here to make it happen. So you might say, look, once per month, you have a weekend. You might say we're going to go on holidays for 4 weeks in the year, and you might say we're going to go to Bells Beach. Just pulled a destination off the top of my head. And you might want to plot out some of these things as to actually how they're going to happen, right? So over here, you're going to say 1 per month. You go to a weekend at the beach. Whatever your small things are, now we're creating some smaller, very specific targets for you to start planning out onto a calendar. So we're looking for some specific things that you're going to put in here. I'm not going to put too much more in there because I'm wanting to move along here a little bit quicker. The next thing you want to do is you want to get the sand. This is the small stuff, or the small stuff. Small stuff does not mean insignificant or not important. It just means it's smaller. It just means it might be 1 day or 2 days, so that when you're putting it on your calendar, it's actually a day or maybe even a half a day. So learning and development might be every Tuesday of the month for, let's say, 2 hours. Business planning days, you might go every second Wednesday of the month. And team training, you might go every 2 months for 4 hours. You're going to set aside some time in your calendar or your schedule to do team training. Birthdays, obviously, you'd be able to plot your birthdays in there. And so as you start going through these, just put some very specific, some very small specific things that you need to do on a day-by-day, maybe month-by-month basis every single year. And we're going to plot the whole year out. Hopefully that's making some sense. So we're going from what I call high level to eye level, and now we're down at thigh level because we're sitting at a desk, we're actually writing it down. So this is actually thigh level. Eye level is we're looking at it, we're thinking about it, we're not doing too much. High level is just, big picture, big stuff. So this is now thigh level planning. And so take the worksheet and fill it out. And then the next step you're going to follow is I've created a calendar for you to have. Now I've put this into A3 format so that you can print it off and have a little bit more room to write on it. But essentially what you're going to be doing is you're going to take the calendar, and you're going to block off time for relations, make it relate to all the big pebbles, the small pebbles. And what will happen is your calendar will start filling up, and you'll start plotting off these days like I'm kind of doing here. I've taken the liberty of putting in some of the stuff that we're doing at the Journer Coach, both in the Wealthy Journer program and in the GPS, the GPS program. So for example, 2018, we've got 2 specific live seminars. I'm going to be coming to Sydney, and we're running one in Melbourne. I've also put in the holiday breaks and some of those sort of things. But you can take this calendar and use the information that we just worked through and physically plot them out on this calendar. Put this calendar up on the wall, and that'll remind you every single day that this is what you're going to be doing. So a bit of a recap. Plan the big stuff first, add it to your calendar. Plan the smaller stuff next, add that to your calendar, and then take the smaller stuff that you need to be doing. It might be 1 day per month or 1 day every 2 months. Plot it on your calendar as well. Pretty soon you've got this calendar all fleshed out so that everything that you need to do in the year is now put in the right sequence on the right days, and you've worked around your holidays, you've worked around the birthdays that are coming up. So men, you haven't missed birthdays. It's one of my habits is I tend to miss people's birthdays, but when it's on the calendar, then you have less of an excuse to miss it. So hopefully that's helped a little bit, made a little bit of sense. It's a really simple little program. It's a really simple little system to follow, but it might have a massive impact for you on your next year. Obviously, if you're involved in one of the programs, either the Wealthy Journaling program or the GPS program, we use this, and we're going to be using this to a much larger extent this year to start planning out your year and how we're going to achieve the smaller things. We then dig into the small things that actually take you through them and help you achieve them. But it needs to be planned out to begin with. So hopefully that's been some help, and please feel free to contact me and give me some feedback. Wherever you've seen this, social media, YouTube, wherever you're watching this right now, please give us some feedback. Let me know your thoughts. If it's been some help, I'd love to hear from you. Love to hear from you anyway. Bruce from the Journaling Coach. Have a great day.